Hola, buenos dias, amigos, buenas tardes. And today we hosted a cold email masterclass with Jesse O. I can't pronounce his last name, so I just call him Jesse O. Now, this isn't your typical cold email masterclass. Why? We didn't even really talk about content inside of a cold email. We didn't talk about subject lines. We didn't talk about the body. We didn't really even get into that. What we talked about is more important than the content in the email. Because guess what? The content in the email doesn't matter if your email can't land in the primary inbox of your prospects. So we talked about how do you set up your email systems, your email deliverability, your DNS, and I know this is getting technical, but we talked about how do you set all that up to actually set yourself up for success so that when you send that email and put all that time in those pretty subject lines, pretty body, you actually get a response. All right. So we went into that. It's very nerdy. However, we tried to break it down and make it simple because, of course, this was part of our weekly series, Go to Market Made Simple. Now, before we dive in, last thing I got to say is if you have not checked out Distribute yet, please do. It is the all-in-one solution for mutual action plans, business cases, call follow-ups, and any type of sales collateral that you need. So go check it out if you haven't already, and we hope you enjoy this masterclass today. Thanks, y'all. Let's get into it, man. How should we start this masterclass, man? Like,
I think what we got to do is just fundamentally talk about the math.
Okay. I want to hear your side of the math.
We gotta just all agree that the same rules are there, right, for everybody, because you can't even get to the problem if you can't. So I guess your goal really is, as a sales or if you're doing sort of any sort of outbound email, the math has to be that you're going for the reply, but not like I'm not talking about like out of office and things like that. I'm talking like an actual person who says if they're interested or not, or they unsubscribe or whatever they want to do, right? Yeah. They have that freedom, and you want to see what that number is, right? Because like I know even when I was talking to you or initially, it was like, hey, I need to get this going, and I need to get some, we're even just talking like, hey, let's just talk about like getting some real replies. Because I think before everybody said, hey, you can get a conversation going on email, it's harder now, right? It's usually they're just going to opt into like taking a meeting with you, right? So two people who don't want to screw around with back and forth. So you've got to really get that reply, that real reply, and you got to measure that against the benchmarks of like other campaigns that are like this that other people have run.
Yeah, and what are people doing right now that you're seeing? So for context for everyone here, Jesse runs Lead Magic. For those that don't know, Jesse's kind of like the cold email like king. Jesse's
Thanks, man.
Yes. He's one of them. There's many, there's many. There's Eric, there's Enzo, we've got a whole crew of kind of cold email pirates is what we call them. We've got a little WhatsApp group going. But Jesse is the man when it comes to deliverability, which used to be a boring topic, and everyone was like, why would you talk about that? And like no one saw
a lot of heat on that, actually.
That was me, dude. That was me. I was like, dude,
a lot of people just ignored it, man. I'm like, guys, you don't know, or people, you don't know, like this thing is going to get really bad all of a sudden. And I mean, I saw what AI and ML could do to your, for sequenced emails, and
yeah, dude, super brutal. Like, and you kind of changed my perspective on that, I will say, man. So kudos, because I wasn't worried about it. I knew what it was, and I knew how to do the basic stuff, but I didn't really like.
It wasn't until I got fired for it.
Yeah.
I fought the system. I had to. I knew that putting an email signature on my, and they said no email signature, no job, no W-2 job, and I said, well, I've been thinking about this anyways, so let's go and let's turn it around, and the rest of it was the best decision I ever made. But I knew landing in the primary inbox has never been more important, because people don't respond if your email is in spam. They literally will not respond. They won't even see it.
Yeah, which is crazy, right? And like, and most people, so everyone, actually, if you're listening, put in the chat, leave a comment and let us know like how you're thinking about deliverability, if you're thinking about deliverability at all, or just say like you have no clue. Because it all kind of starts here, y'all. Like, I know we're kind of doing this as an off the cuff masterclass, but like it all starts here, and we should actually get into like the intricacies of this, Jesse, and like how to like what you should look at when it comes to deliverability. Because right now that probably sounds like magic to people. And so what are like the top 3 things I think people should be doing there? Let's freaking show them. That way they can like start to think about
Yeah.
it.
So if
Yeah.
I have to think about it just holistically, I would say if you want to make an analogy, it's like a popular nightclub that everybody wants to get into, right? You're in the inbox. There's a door person, right? That's sort of handling, the riffraff, right? That's what they would say. I had a couple of buddies who were bouncers in college, but they would handle the riffraff, and you never knew. Like they would kind of like,
Hopefully they didn't kick your ass out. Maybe they're
yeah,
like,
I wouldn't be
this
there now.
deliverability guy, get him out of here, man. He just wants to drink beer and talk about emails. Yeah,
Yeah,
later.
talk about
Later.
but that popular party that's going on there, right? Everybody wants to kind of like, because that, right? Obviously, running ads, as you know, is not cheap. When you get a 6, 7, 8, 9 figure bill from Google, Microsoft, or Reddit, or any of the other ad platforms that are out there, you're gonna feel that. And when you could send emails, if you can send them automated, which Outreach really built that incredible business on that. And I think that you just have to really think about, okay, now I'm automating it. Now imagine if a nightclub had a bunch of like robots trying to come into it. They'd say, no, you're not coming in. We don't need robots
Yeah.
we don't need
Yeah.
robots in our nightclub. Right. So they would stop everybody at the door, and you'd have to look more like somebody they could actually want in their nightclub. And that, thinking about it that way, is the best way to really figure out what you need to do to improve your email delivery.
Yeah. And there's like, and just to define it for people, it's typically like 3 things, right? There's DMARC, there's your SPF records, and there's your DKIM that you like for sure need to get set up. And those are like
that's table stakes for the whole thing. And what that sets is this thing. There's a thing called authentication. What that means, that's like having an ID. What that means, it's like, so if you don't, first of all, if you're going to a nightclub that you're, and well, for me, maybe I could probably get in because I'm well over 21. But for somebody who's, they're gonna check your ID at the door. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're going. And
I can't grow a beard, man. So like, I still get checked every time. Like, man, you definitely like have a baby face. You can, I got peach fuzz right here, but like that's about it. And so I still get ID'd, unfortunately.
yeah,
It's okay. It's okay. It's a compliment. I take it as a compliment, though.
Busy nightclub, no ID. You're trying to send robots in, or I guess another analogy might be like you're going through the TSA trying to travel to Mexico, and you're bringing a bunch of drugs and guns with you.
Okay.
That might be the extreme there, but like it's like, okay, so that's what I see happening. So there's a lot of sales teams, and they just send, and they do it without any real conviction of that this is a quality message. And when I show it to them and I break it down for them, I'm just like, let's look. Do you have your ID? And then with that I just check there's basic IT setup. Now, the funny thing is, I've worked at Series D unicorn companies. I worked for a company, you can look at my LinkedIn if you want to figure out which one it is. I worked for a company that had $1 billion of venture-backed capital, and I was there in the C to D round. I was there in the D round. E might have been closer to the E round. They didn't have DKIM on, and these are basic IT, and it's literally a 0 or 1. It's not even work. You don't argue it, right? It's on, it's off. There's no halfway. It's a setting that you need to have on, and checking that first is like the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Companies have it off. Now, even if you have all that on, that's only having your ID to go into the doors of the nightclub.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and I think the question that people are going to ask from here now is, how in the hell do I do that? Right? Like, if I'm like, where do I do that? How do I do that? There's all these terms, like, what the heck? Because this is what I asked you. Like, well, I knew the basics, but like, where do you make this happen if you buy a domain? Like, like all that stuff. Maybe I should just pull up where you set up like your DP.
Yeah, you want me to show? I could show
show it so people just get like a nice little touch of it. And I know we're getting a little nerdy here, y'all, but like we're getting nerdy because everyone when they do a cold email masterclass, they talk about here's the perfect template and all that. And don't get me wrong, templates are great. But your template doesn't matter if your email can't even land in the inbox, right? Like you can have the best template in the world that says I'm going to give you $1,000 to take a meeting and actually do that, but if it doesn't hit their inbox, it doesn't matter. So maybe we show how to set up in Cloudflare or something like that. Let
Absolutely.
me see.
I'm actually going to do something. You're going to hate me for this one.
Uh-oh.
Pull up the
Uh-oh.
brand 30 email, and we're going to.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
I'm really
Is
sorry
this
to do
the
that.
old one? Oh shit. Oh, this is me. Okay.
Now, let's talk about this a little bit too. I opted into this. So, one of the things that's different from cold email versus marketing emails, there's sort of really four types of emails that come out of your company, right? There's the regular,
Yeah.
like functional people that are emailing vendors, HR, this type of thing. There's the cold email people. There's the transactional email. Transactional email is the ones where you like forgot password, those types of things.
Yeah.
And then there's the bulk. Hold on, let me take a drink.
Yeah. Take your time, dude.
There's the
Get your
bulk.
water, lube up, you're good, man.
Yeah, so there's bulk, and this is
Yeah.
bulk right here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you have here is excuse me. But basically in here you have a header that you can look at, and then you can take this and look and see how it performs, right? So let's look and see.
Yeah. Okay, so you took the header. So you said so it's steps for people. You show original message in Gmail to see if you have this on. So you went to show original here. You grab the header, which is.
Let me just make sure that I'm pulling it out of. The problem is I'm forwarding some of those emails. So hold on one second. I just want to make sure it came to the right email address. Where have I got an email from you?
Yeah, well, everyone, for those that just might have joined, Jesse is currently roasting my email deliverability live on this call. So yes, he's roasting me.
So what you do first is you go here and you would click on show original, right? This is in every Gmail system that you have.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, you're gonna see the information here, but let's analyze.
Pass. Yep. So I passed.
So, well, let's actually make it better even actually than this, right? So there's a little more to it than this. What we're going to do is we're going to go to MX Toolbox.
Yep.
This is a website, and I actually, believe it or not, here, hold on. Yeah, so basically in here, if you go into here, you paste it in here.
Yeah.
It'll tell you really everything you need to know. Because
okay.
Yep.
Got
it. You passed on everything. This is the hardest one to pass on.
Why didn't I pass?
This one is a little bit of a. So this one's not going to be that impactful, and I'll tell you why. It's kind of going to see that you have your ID on the way in, but you might have dropped it.
Okay.
They went when you go like there's some, and by the way, it depends on who you're emailing, right? If you're emailing the Fortune 500, you're going to need your ID the whole time. It's like you're going through a more sophisticated, bouncers following you around all the time, right? They want to be very. But in this scenario where you have it, you've actually are going to probably be fine. But like what it is you're using this domain name, and what's happened is you probably have a conflict between your current Gmail and ConvertKit or whatever your sending product
Beehive. I'm using Beehive.
Yeah,
that's my newsletter. To send my newsletter, I'm using Beehive.
So when it goes back to check, it's getting a different signature from your other. So whatever else you're sending emails from on this system, it's sort of aligned to another system.
Got it. Okay. So this looks like a lot of code for everyone. Yeah. Yep. But overall, I'm like good, right? Like I can like.
You're good on this newsletter.
Yeah.
The newsletter that had the one that you said, or this one from andysnewsletter.com.
Yeah, but I'm not good on the other one.
The other one, I'm forwarding the email, so we wouldn't be able to check it. It's coming from.
Okay. I'll get it.
And then the other thing is the content. So one other thing you want to do now, I opted into this email. Yeah. So I'm a known, I'm not like blocking it. It's got I opted in, right? It's a fairly high, it's not going to, the biggest thing you want to avoid are report as spam. So if you can avoid getting reported as spam by the inbox, and that's what this is. I'm not going to do it to you, Andy, I promise.
Do not, come on, man. We're friends.
I won't do it, man. I promise. If you were to report that as spam,
no tacos for you ever, dude. If you do that, no tacos for you.
That would be what you don't want. You don't want the person doing that. So this is where I think the breakup email is dead, because that email triggers people to do this more.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Call it guilt emailing, right? It's where you're like making somebody you don't know. It's sort of like on like Wayne's World where she buys a gun for him and he goes, I don't even wait a second, I don't even you're mental. Like I don't even shoot guns. I don't even have any guns. A gun rack. Sorry, it's a
Yeah.
gun. I missed that one.
Okay.
But you got, like why would you break up with me if we're not even in a conversation yet? Like that's a weird one. And that triggers people to hit the report as spam.
Got it. Okay. So for those listening, let's like dumb this down a lot. So
Yep.
if you are using, so whenever you're sending an email, let's call it like from Beehive, and I know Beehive has a support article on this. If you're sending a newsletter, if you're sending cold, let's start with newsletters because I know some people on here have newsletters. Actually, let's ask the audience. Hey, y'all, comment below. Like, how are you just doing cold emails? Are you doing a newsletter? Are you doing both? Like, are you doing transactional emails? What kind of cold emails are you sending? And if it's just basic cold emails from Gmail, that's fine too. But comment what kind of emails you're sending here for us. Let's see what we got. Go ahead and drop a comment. What types of cold emails are you sending? That way we're making sure we're kind of hitting everything. Go ahead and drop it there. Drop it in the comments. Now,
Do not send cold emails from Beehive. Make
oh,
sure.
no. Of course,
of course. Make sure that one.
Yeah, you're not sent from cold emails. I don't even know if you can do that, but if you're using it, how you're using email, right? Drop that in the chat. Let's see what you're doing.
It'll work really well for one day, and then it will stop working, and you'll be thrown off the platform.
Yeah. So listen to Jesse. Don't do that.
It will work. Like everyone's like, oh, no. It will work. It will work very well, and then they'll kick you off the platform because it's a you got to be careful. You can't go on like the nicest, you can't go move into the nicest neighborhood and then start throwing parties every night, right? You're gonna have the police there. You're gonna have everybody there watching you, right? It's you're impacted by who your neighbors are, and that's how they determine the value of your and that's why it's a unique opportunity to look at Gmail and Outlook to send cold emails, and that's why it works is because everybody on Gmail is on the same block.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we got some people here. HubSpot for newsletters, Apollo for cold emails, and about to check out Clay. Cool.
Nice.
So HubSpot for newsletters, I would check if your domain, y'all, like search HubSpot, set up DKIM SPF.
Yeah, HubSpot's tricky to do on the DKIM stuff. They've gotten a little bit better, but it's a little bit complicated, and you might want to work with a HubSpot partner on that.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. How I do it, like on Beehive, they had an article, right, y'all? So don't think you have to like figure this out on your own. Type in like Beehive setup DKIM SPF, and they'll have directions for how to do it. You're gonna like log in to your domain lives, Namecheap, GoDaddy. I was gonna say Google Daddy, but not Google Daddy, GoDaddy. And then you basically add some records to your domain, right?
Yep. And this is a good example. You can also plug it in. I do have a GPT. I was just thinking about this. I have a GPT that I put out there, and it helps you set it up on your email for cold email. You can go into my GPT and you can paste your header, and it'll actually score it for you. So if you want to do that, I don't know why I'm plugging people's websites, other websites, but I forgot I built this. But this actually gives you a full report. And if you give this to your IT team, they will be able to help you fix anything that's a problem. I got pretty critical on this of everything. It's pretty detailed, but this is like, what it is. And then of course, it just helps you do that. And this is how you need to set this stuff up and test it. And this tells you if it passes or fails right away, right? So that's a good way to look at it as well. And the only thing it won't pick up is that DKIM issue, that alignment issue that we saw earlier on the newsletter.
Yeah. And Jesse, we have a question here. Let's is there a way to know if your email got to their inbox?
This is where I think a lot of people don't like me, Guru, because I've said this. Everyone who asks me, I always get the same question, Jesse. I've got a good deliverability or whatever, and they always like talk. They're always like everything's, and I'm like open rates. And they're talking about all these other things. I'm like, okay, but you don't know if the person opened the email, or you don't know if it got to their inbox. You don't know where it landed. The only way you would know is if you had access to that inbox. That's why there's placement tools, but the placement tools only know if they got access to that one inbox, right? So they have to host the inbox. Now, if you're saying, well, I want to know if I got into, my target count is Gong, I wouldn't know if I landed in Gong's primary email, unless I had access to the inbox that I emailed at Gong. So this is where everybody gets it wrong, and it's different for every company. Every company has different settings. Every nightclub is a little bit harder to get into depending on how much money they have usually, right? So that's the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
idea. You got to think about it that way and break it down like that. So if you're like, I want to go get into the most popular nightclub and I want to show up without an ID and I want to show up with just me alone with a trench coat on or something weird, you're probably not going to get in, right?
yeah.
You got to look normal and you got to look cool, like, and don't show up with a big signature of your kids and everybody else, right? People want to have fun and party here, right? Like, I see a lot
Yeah.
of doing that signature move where it's like 65 lines of marketing branding. That's for social media, not for cold email.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Got it, Jesse. And another question, yeah, y'all, if you have questions, put them in the chat, right? Yeah, someone said this is a fire hose. Absolutely. We're throwing a lot of stuff at y'all, but y'all, this is like where it all starts, right? Like you can have the best, as I'll say it again, you can have the best template in the world, but it does not matter if it does not land in the inbox. So this is the stuff the other gurus won't talk about. They'll talk templates all day, right? Guess what? The email ether bots out there that are checking all your emails, they don't care how good your template is. They just care about if you have some of these things set up correctly. So awesome. Jesse, someone asked, what was the prompt? You can probably just paste the header.
So the prompt is actually, there's a GPT. If you've gone into their store, if you just look up lead magic, check my email delivery. There's an option when you go into it, so it'll just sort of you go into it's called the GPT store, and you type in lead magic, and it's a lead magic. It's called Mail Mentor. It's an AI basically chatbot that I've prompted. What's the prompt? You don't even need to know the prompt because you just click a button that says paste in your details. So it just says submit your header. So if you do the same thing that I showed you there, where you show original, you'll be able to go in and then send the header in, and then it'll score it for you and give you the analysis of it. It actually analyzes some other stuff too. And then I also have one in here that will analyze the actual sequence and try to help you out to write better sequences as well. So
Yeah.
I've added that in there too. And if you want to use it, it's totally free. And I actually don't even get to know who uses it. I haven't implemented that either. So
Yeah.
enjoy, use it privately, and as much as you want, burn as many credits as you want through OpenAI.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Look at this, y'all. So check that out. I think we might be boring people now because we're getting into the email deliverability intricacies and all this stuff. Chad did say very fascinating stuff, guys. I had no clue about this. That's a great point, Chad. So first, I want y'all to like get some awesome takeaways from this. Okay. First takeaway is if you're doing your own creator type stuff, newsletters, sending from ConvertKit, sending from anywhere, go make sure your DKIM SPF records are set up, right? You're going to go into where you bought your domain, GoDaddy, Namecheap, and then you're going to set up, you're literally just going to put in like they look like URLs. They're called records, and look up whatever provider you're using that's sending from. Like if it's Beehive, type in Beehive, or if it's ConvertKit, set up SPF. They'll have the values that you put in there. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, if you're working for a company, make sure that like ask your IT or your sales leader, hey, do we have DKIM SPF and our records set up properly if we're sending from Apollo, if we're sending from Outreach, if we're sending from Group? Ask them, and your sales leader might look at you and be like, what the hell does that mean? That's totally okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is totally okay. I've been a sales leader. If I ask my wife, she's a sales leader, she'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So that's okay. Make sure the IT has it set up, or whoever owns like your sales engagement platform, make sure they have this set up on your domain so that when you're sending, you have a better chance at landing
Yeah, just have all your ducks in a row when you're trying to go into these hot nightclubs, right? If you want to get into the best and the fanciest restaurants, it's even restaurants, right? Reservations. You got to book ahead. You got to plan this stuff out. I think your IT team needs to be a partner in this. I see companies that don't partner with IT or they don't have IT, right? They kind of SaaS up everything. And what they do is they'll sometimes go to market too fast and they won't have all their infrastructure in place. Huge problem. It's really bad actually, because a lot of the times they'll come in and email their old clients and their old references, get referrals. Well, guess what? You're not getting through any Fortune 500 or any big company or any even high growth software startup company. You got to get I've helped a lot of founders really do it. And I mean, there's some more advanced tactics that are coming along, but just focus on this right here for now. Don't like everyone's talking about all like the other stuff, like the inbox rotation and all the other stuff. That stuff does work, but you're probably not ready for it yet. At this point, get this stuff in check, get the DCAM, get the authenticated emails ready. At that point, then, later you can talk about all the fancy stuff the new kids are doing, right? But it might not be for your company either. There's other considerations there around security, and if you don't have a lot of experience in it and you're not like somebody who wants to learn it, you might not want to do it actually. Yeah. So I always tell people caution yourself on some of the new stuff coming out. And I know how to do all of it. I've been doing a lot of it, so it's fun, but I'm not the guy who says every single company should be starting their business with 7,500 domain names and doing that. I think it's actually the exact wrong strategy companies are doing today. It creates another problem later, and sometimes even a security issue, actually, if you do it incorrectly.
Yeah, and Mark has a question in here. Y'all, this is great. Mark, thank you for asking the question. If you have any questions on this stuff, drop it in the chat right now. Drop it in the chat. And then we're going to try and answer it here, because part of this is like learn together. So, Mark has a question. How important is it not to send emails from your main domain email address?
Okay.
This is a great question, Mark.
Great question. Great question. So here's my thoughts. Everything that people opt in for, you can send from your main domain. You want to use a subdomain on market emails or on, transactional. Now, let's talk about your main domain. Okay. Now, people always say, don't send from your main domain. I say this too. However, the reason I say it is in the context of cold email. And what I'm assuming on cold email is that you're going to get report as spam. And if you think that number is going to happen, and I'm by the way, Andy, I'm going to keep you sweating this whole thing.
Hey, man, come on, dude.
No I won't hit that dude. Button.
We talked about
screenshot this right now.
We talked about this, dude. All right.
But if I hit that button,
and I'm watching all y'all too. No one report that. I'm watching all y'all in the newsletter. I know. I see you. That
newsletter is pretty good, dude. I read it every time. But that'd be your own problem. You wouldn't get it back either. You would never give it back to you if you reported it. So, anyways, the point is you don't want to get those reported as spam. And what ends up happening is if somebody reports it as spam, it triggers another action. Google then starts to mark it. I'm going to give you the numbers. If you get 1 on 1,000 emails, you're considered high. Now, some teams are 100, maybe 200x over that. And by the way, in Google, you don't know. They will not give you the feedback loop for a lot of reasons. I don't want to get into all those, but they're not giving you they do give you a little one now. They're starting to inch some data to you, but they want to be careful because remember, every time that they do that, they help out people that want to send more emails. I don't know who does that, but anybody who wants to send a lot more emails out of their Gmail, anytime that feedback loop gets better, we can get our feedback. The people who take advantage of the feedback are usually the people who really want to get in that inbox, and we're looking for feedback loop on that. And they don't always tell you at the top nightclubs. And when you want to go for the top nightclubs, if I wanted to get an email into Gong or GE or any of Amazon, any of these companies, I would have to have all my stuff ready to go when that bouncer says, name and ID, please.
Yeah. Okay.
And what are you going to do here tonight? Are you going to get a table?
And this whole freak out that Gmail, Google caused, remember there was the whole, some people that's part of it, right? Where they said, hey, if 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 gets reported, then you're kind of on the chopping block.
So it was they came back and they said 3 on 1,000, right? It was the feedback loop was 0.03, which is 3 on 1,000, because they measure it on 1,000 because you can't do it on 100 because it's 0.03. So what
Yeah.
happened there was, then what they kind of did is like it was kind of like a miscommunication, I think, somewhere internally. And what happened is they sort of backtracked a bit and they said it was only personal emails. So it was like everyone at B2B was like, oh, thank God, right? But it like the biggest thing is this is going to change, right? So Microsoft just announced a couple of weeks ago they're doing a lot of big things next year. So they're all gearing up for, and the other big thing is that unsubscribe thing. They're asking people to put it in there. Now, I will not advise anybody on if they should put it in there or not. On cold emails, I do not put it in there. I'm not going to tell you why I don't do it, and there's no I'm not going to go against your vendors. If you have vendors now that tell you to put it in there, we personally don't put the unsubscribe link here because of a lot of reasons. I don't have to share why I don't do it. But I do follow all of the rules and regulations of all of the countries that I'm responsible to. And I send emails and I leave a very, very easy way for people to opt out of emails. And I just don't feel that Google runs email, right? They're a brilliant company, but they don't. Email has been around since 1968 or whatever. It's one of the greatest ways to get a hold of people and generate.
1968, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't know it was around that long, huh? I thought
it's been around for a while, and it's the best way to get B2B buyers. If you're good, if you know how to make some, get those IDs working, and you want to send your people to, the really, you gotta be good though. You can't be, don't send crap. Like you send crap.
No. Yeah. And here, okay. So Jesse, we're breaking this. I think breaking this call into 3 phases is what I'm kind of thinking about here, right? We talked about the first piece, which was like phase 1, which was like email deliverability, all the back end boring snooze fest stuff for most people, but it's actually the most important. Believe it or not, even though this stuff is not like the most, like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm gonna set up some records for my domain. But the most important, I think phase 2, what we should get into is now content for emails, right? It's like, okay, so we did deliverability. Now let's do phase 2, which is the content, right? And Bharat is gonna, and sorry if I butchered your name, Bharat. I'll say B for now. But he asked a question, do you use AI to personalize your outreach, right?
Yes.
With Clay or custom workflows?
Yeah, so we've used Clay. We have Clay. I use it more of a visual layer before things go out just to see. I am using the strategy.
Can you show us how you use Clay?
Yes, I can actually. Hold on 1 second here.
Yeah, take your time. I think we should, because a lot of people are hearing about Clay. This is not sponsored by Clay. It's not sponsored by anyone. This is, if anyone is sponsoring this, it's sponsored by Distributing Lead Magic. But it's just Clay's a great product. So let's see how you're using Clay, man, because there's a lot of talk on that and how you're using it to personalize.
Yep. So a couple things about Clay, and you'll see it on the screen here in a second. I just have to prepare, make sure I always get doxed on these things. I've had some, so I just have to make sure,
Yeah, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, dude. So.
No. I gotta, So
I personally just want to see it too,
Yeah, no problem. So one of the big automations that I do on Clay is I find one of the best triggers in sales, and I'm about ready to turn on the screen here, but one of the best triggers in sales for me over time is if companies are hiring or not, right? That trigger.
Okay.
So I want to, so if I'm, I'll give you an example. There's always some role in your company or some role in a company that they could be, if you're selling a tool or whatever, it's usually there's some other action that's happening to try to solve that problem. So I'm about ready to show you here. This is going to be a really, really good demo for you. So if I'm in Lead Magic and I want to go in and I want to actually, so for me, let's just say, I run lead generation. Let's just say a company's hiring SDRs, right? Maybe.
Okay. So now you're searching it. So you're in Lead Magic. You're searching job title to see who's hiring SDRs. Ooh, dude, you have all this, and this is amazing. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Absolutely. So then I would do that, and then what I would do is I would say, okay, well, any company, I also want to go get. So I want to get that list. It costs you 1,900. That's like it's like a penny a record. It just depends on how many you want. You can limit it, stop losses, whatever. But so it's like five. You might want to get 500 companies that are hiring for a certain role. Now I did worldwide, so there's a number there. We'll do that. That's going to create the list. It does that, and then we'll do the Martha Stewart sort of like one here, but it starts to get the list here. It scrapes all of that. Now, what I did is I built a scraper that goes to the actual company website. So it actually goes into the companies. What we do here, I'll give you one that's already done. So we give you back the Google Sheet. You can go into the Google Sheet and you can see all the companies hiring for SDRs.
Yeah.
And by the way, I did not know this demo was happening. So this is on the fly. Totally. That's how easy it is.
Cool, man. Yeah.
Now,
I like to do this shit. So this is cool. Yeah.
Now I have a push to Clay button. What you have to do in Clay is you set something up called a webhook table. It's a very easy thing to do. I've got a video on the site on how to do it. What happens is there's a thing called a webhook here. You go in there, you grab that URL, and then you put that enter Clay webhook, right?
And then it pushes the table that you created in your system to Clay. It's a table in there.
Now, what happens in Clay is it starts to populate live, and that's live job data. So that's the most accurate data that you could possibly get. And now you've got all of the features of the jobs that you're looking up, and you can easily say, okay, I want to go get the LinkedIn data. I want to get the company name. I want to go get some of them have experience, whatever you want to do, you can build that workflow here. You can call that job out and you can find the people that work at these companies. Now you can do that. Now here's what's going to happen. At this point, you can say, okay, now we have an API and it will save you a lot of money if you use our API. We're working with Play right now to get into their app store. Yeah. They do have it in theirs. We're just going to show you the company enrichment. So let's go into the company enrichment. We have an API that you could use. This costs 1 credit. That's about 4 cents. Our API is about 1, so it's 1 penny. So if you use our API, the problem is you have to put it in manually. I'm working with their team. I'm giving their team some time to do that. They have the docs. I have a share table that you could actually just do this with. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, if I'm reaching out to that company, what I really want to get is the head count because I want to know what type of company it is. I want to get the description, all of that. Found it. Let's put the description. Great. Now I'm going to run 10 rows of this data. And what that's going to do is that's going to trigger me to run all of the. So now I've got a spreadsheet that has some of the information that I need to write that email.
Wow. Okay. So to recap, these are all the companies that are hiring SDRs right now, right? And so you are pulling the company names, the employee counts.
Now I'm going to pull the employees next. I'm going to pull the employee who would be hiring.
Oh, you're going to pull the actual people next.
Yes, I'm going to pull
reach out to.
Okay. Exactly. So what you do is you find you would use the LinkedIn, and I did a couple of master classes on this. Happy to come back to for showing more workflows. And this is how you can use distribute to get content to people faster too, which is even better, right? Yeah. So let's go here. Then you go in and you find you basically would the one you use next is you would want to go find contacts at the company.
Okay. Can you set like ICP of which contacts?
Yeah. So what you would do, you would go, let's say here, not this one. So then you would go to the, hold on, let me just do it. The ad enrichment. And then we want to do LinkedIn people. Okay, just make a small UI tweak here. Okay, so find contacts at the company. We'll go with the so actually, sorry, I meant to do the other one. There's 2. So it's the person data, and then I would basically do the I would do the find hold on, where is it? LinkedIn. So you would take that, and then you would find and you would do the find and enrich from Google search, right? And that will allow you to do that will be like, so if I want to go, let's just say I go, what I would do next is just the role one, you got to do it the right way. There's two ways to do it. I just have to remember which way it is. So you
Yeah.
got to, these tables, you got to be putting me on the spot here, but I love it because I can actually do this stuff. So I've got the domain name. So the best way to do it, the most accurate way to do it, and I've tested these tables 1,000 times. You go in and you do the company name and you use the find from Google search one. And you would say, let's say I was looking for a chief revenue officer at the one there. And then I would say, and actually, we'll even do something else. Site LinkedIn.com and chief revenue officer.
Okay. So you're basically saying, give me all the people who have chief revenue officer in their title.
And I'm doing it at that company. So what I'm doing is I'm going to pull it from the name of that actual company. I'm going to pull it out of that company. So I want to pull it out of that company really quickly here. And then I would be pulling it there. And then I would get the data, and then I would just kind of check. I do a spot check on the first 10. You got to be careful in Clay. You can burn through credits like a madman. And each one of those is 4 cents. We've got an API that makes it only a penny, but
there we go.
Those are the people that you would want to reach out to, right? Melissa's the chief revenue, okay, they've got a weird role there. There's a little bit of finding that goes on here. You got to find the
you got to tinker with it, right?
I do actually have a table here. I'll pull it up in a second here, but there's a table that I have that allows you to a lot of the Clay people share their like tables, meaning I've built a lot that I have like I've shared with people, and you can do a lot of different like aspects that you would pull from there, right? And you would look for those people, you would find those contacts at that company. And then
nice.
This table, what you could do, this is the one, I'm sorry. This is it. So you would go in here and then you would basically grab the title would be, let's just say chief revenue officer, right? Now you will be able to look up the company identifier, and I want to find that. That's going to allow me to go pull that name of that person and and all of that. Now I'm going to go pull that and save it and then run it on the first 10 rows. And then I'm going to get the real person. And then that gives me, it's a spreadsheet that fills itself out, is like what their investors will tell you, right? Like you just have to get that stupid, you got to get the stupid title right. So there was only a couple of companies that had the actual chief revenue officer. So you'd have to do VP of sales.
Okay, got it. And for those listening, how many people we got? So for those listening, have you used Clay before? Drop in the chat. Have you used Clay? Drop in the chat, yes or no. Have you used Clay? Just drop in the chat here for us if you've used Clay. I'm honestly getting a lesson myself here on how to use it and get data. So this is amazing.
Yep. And you can even do 2 titles and then it'll put like whichever one. So there were there we go. Right. This is the person. So this would be the person. Now what I just did. So if you want to go back to the beginning, we started with a problem. My companies that buy lead magic typically are hiring sales development reps. Great. Now I'm taking this, I scrape all of that. This data is already done for you. So this data could be pushed in as well. See, it's already done. That was the live data. This is real time. So it's actually live. And you can see the file's done, right? We've just scraped it. That only took like a minute to scrape 6,000 different job boards. We push the data into Clay. The Clay webhook goes in here. The webhook goes into here. It starts here. Then you spread it out here. You enrich the companies, and then you find the people. These are the people that you want to email. Then the AI part comes. Ready for that? That's the finale.
Okay, nice.
That's where the finale shows. Is you can now write the email with,
AI. So here's how to write the email with AI. Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So. But remember what you're doing. You're taking into account all of that information. This is why I've posted about this the other day. This is why certain companies are getting 10x out of AI and building content, because they're able to pull relevant information one-to-one. Every email feels like it was crafted to that one person, as if they spent 20 to 30 minutes researching it, each email. Yeah. And that's why, a lot of the gurus are like, oh, I can write better emails than AI. Well, you'd have to spend 20 or 30 minutes researching it to do the same level of that I can do in 1 second, right? That's why they
Yeah.
can't compete, and that's why they're going to continue to be, eradicated from their own companies and feel weird. But it's never too late to start learning new tricks.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so now once you have your table of your data, you can use AI here to write the emails for
Yeah,
each person and
and
then
then
push it
push it
to
into outreach
Apollo.
or
Yeah.
Apollo, yeah, or sales or
Instantly, Smart Lead, Apollo, whatever you're using. Shout out to Smart Lead and Instantly, but Smart Lead V, what's up?
my man.
Yes. Nice,
Yeah, so
nice, nice.
but this is where you write the email. We'll just kind of show you here. But this is a table here. I've done a lot of these, and always happy to come back to your audience, dude. I respect what you're doing over there. But you could grab one of these. The cheapest way to do it would be to use just write it with the OpenAI one in here. You could do that. There's some people who are getting a little more advanced. They're writing with a model,
Yeah.
different models. But what I would do is I would just go in here, just do the AI one, and then we're gonna do like a chat completion. There's also another one. They have an agent, which will actually do even more. It'll go out to that person's website and do even more. That's one that a lot of the people are talking about. Although if
Wow.
you
Okay.
just be,
Yeah.
now you can write the prompt here. You are an expert at writing. I have a good prompt for this, but I don't have it with me. I can share it with you if they read your newsletter and don't
Now
forget.
this is the prompt for writing for
You're an
each.
expert at writing cold emails, and you are writing to a chief revenue officer or VP of sales regarding the position. Your company is a lead generation SaaS product, and you are seeing if they have an opening, right? Like you can provide some context here. They have a couple of them here. Here's one that's actually already built in the platform. I forgot about that. So then what you can do in here, you can use one like that. I'll just use one that I think Eric even did this one. So you could put all of that stuff in there. And what you would do is if you ever want to go and edit that to make it so, watch this. So you pull that out, you delete that, and then now in here, you could use the information that you're getting from, like, anytime you use the slash command, you can pull in other fields from those tables. And they've got a couple of templates that they've already written. So if we just do that, and then we'll say which is the education from, okay, which one's the LinkedIn field. So you would just take that one, Clay, they can do a demo with you or show you how to set this up. But you would use this template, and then you would then you might write the email. I mean, a lot of us have super secret templates that we don't share with anybody. We never will, but maybe with you, Andy, we'll share. But
yeah, I have a few secret ones too. I have a lot that I share, but there's a few go-to that are the money makers. I got to be honest.
Go-tos, man, you know it. And then that's really what you do.
You probably received them, y'all, but yeah, that's that.
Last thing I was going to show you. This would be the last thing. You have to be able to add it. This is where you would add it to your outreach campaign or your Apollo campaign. That's the last field you have to create. You have the email in one, and then you have it in your Apollo campaign. Those are the two last.
Okay.
I'll share this table with you, Andy, and you can give it away to your subscribers. And if they sign up, they can get 1,000 credits on the Lead Magic's platform for free.
Cool, y'all. Amazing. Well, Jesse, dude, thanks for hopping on, man, and showing the ropes.
It doesn't get much better than that, man. That was like that might have been one of my best, webinar performances for just throwing it out there and showing people how it's done.
Yeah, well, dude,
I read myself.
I can get it out of you so we can make sure it's tactical. So great stuff, y'all. Let's recap, Jesse. So 2 things: email deliverability. Make sure your DMARC, DKIM, and SPF are all set up. It's actually pretty easy to set those up on most platforms, though. It sounds like HubSpot's a pain in the butt. But check that. Second, if you want to do kind of be a data nerd, there's Lead Magic to grab data. There's Clay to make spreadsheets out of that data. And then, of course, you have your sending tools, Apollo, Outreach, Instantly, Smart Lead, all that fun stuff. So if you have questions, you can DM me as well, DM Jesse. Put a thumbs up if Jesse and I should have another one of these and take it to
Dude,
the
I'm
next
in.
level.
Anything you do, man. I'm all on board here, man. Let's do
All
it.
right, let's freaking do it. Put a thumbs up here. Brock wants us to talk nerdy to him. Yes, Brock. But put a thumbs up if
Anytime,
you want
Brock.
us to do another cold email masterclass in the future. And we will plan something here. We might do something a little bit different. Maybe we talk more about content or like different systems you can use besides the Apollos and the sales lofts and all those. But yeah, put a thumbs up if we should do another cold email masterclass here. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. Thank you.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you,
everybody.
everyone.
Really, all the support and everything has been amazing. So thank you, everybody.
Last thing I'm going to do, we're going to do one of these every single week. So we're going to do what we call go to market made simple. We're bringing on Udi, the president of Gong. We're bringing on Anthony, who runs Fletch Product Marketing. We're bringing on Adam Robinson next week, actually, to talk about Founder Brand. Yeah. So if you are interested in that, I am going to put the link to register for the weekly sessions here in the chat. Maybe I'll message it to Brock and he can put it in. Or here, let me see. Can I do it from here? Shit. Comments. I'm going to put it in the comments. Boom. Go to that page there. It's a Zoom page. Register. You'll get a weekly invite on your calendar so that you can actually join us from there. All right. So again, that is in the chat. I just posted it in there. I'll also send it out in my newsletter so that you can do this weekly. All right. And join us weekly. We're going to bring on all the pros that are kind of the non-BS pros that will tell you exactly how it is, all the best tactics, all the best stuff. I'm going to be learning as well with y'all. So register on that link there if you want to join us weekly so you'll have it on your calendar.
I love this, man. This is a great format, and everything you're doing, man, distributes awesome. If you haven't got that product yet, I don't know why. Go try it out. It's awesome for me. We use it. We love it. Go do it. Make content with it. You'll have it's
Thank
well
you,
worth it.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. And follow Jesse for all these insights on cold email, deliverability, Clay, all that stuff. And then we'll see you next week, y'all. Everyone have a good one. Thank you so much.